back here at home in the States, where the politicians seem to not be able to duck us as readily as they do on the federal level, some things are changing. In particular, in the state of Texas, where we stand up for our most vulnerable citizens in the womb. Mary Elizabeth Castle is the Director of Government Relations at Texas Values, and she joins me now. Mary Elizabeth, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled that Beijing Biden's regime cannot forcibly kill Texas babies. Apparently, this is a legal maneuver that they tried to say that, well, we should be able to allow emergency abortions, emergency rooms to conduct abortions. And of course, that raises questions, and I want you to address them. First off, how big was the Fifth Circuit victory? But what is an emergency abortion?
Yeah, that's right. They were trying to maneuver, like they always do, a federal law to require emergency rooms to perform abortions. Now, this law that they were trying to use was a 1986 law that basically said if someone came to the emergency room and they didn't have insurance, that you would have to treat them. Now, that was mostly, if maybe they got into an accident or had a medical emergency, but nowhere in that 1986 law did they have the term abortion. And that law could not require anyone to perform abortion. But as always, the Biden administration was using this to have them perform, in their way, emergency abortions in hospitals, turning our emergency rooms into abortion clinics. And the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals correctly ruled that that interpretation was wrong.
Absolutely. And folks, just think of how degenerate our political opponents are to try to turn ERs by saying, yes, rush in there and say, I need an abortion. It's an emergency. The state of Texas won't allow me to slaughter my baby in the womb. It's an emergency. Please get it out. The level of depravity that has to go into individuals to even make such an argument, I think it reveals the nature of our political enemies, does it not, Mary?
It definitely does. And it wasn't too long ago that we saw a situation very similar to this with the Kate Cox issue, where you had a woman who was 20 or more weeks pregnant and, claimed that she immediately needed an abortion due to a disability that her baby could survive. But we're seeing this by the abortion industry, bringing these lawsuits against a lot of our pro-life laws, like the Texas Heartbeat Law, the Human Life Protection Act, saying that the medical exceptions are not clear when there has no been argument before that those medical exceptions to the life of the mother were not clear. But again, we're seeing the federal government at any cost and in any way trying to force Texas, which is a pro-life state, the majority of our citizens believe to protect the life of the preborn, to force us to perform abortion in this post-Dobbs era.
Yeah, you know what? And all the abortion industry is a massive money laundering operation. Anyway, Planned Parenthood gets $500 million taxpayer dollars a year. We're told so they can pay their bills, keep their lights on, pay their salaries, but none of that money is supposed to go to abortions. And it's a wink and a nod, right? And what they're able to pay all their other expenses so that all their profit can come from abortion, and they can take that profit and, of course, donate to Democrats. When you heard the stat, and it's now dated now because I think it was late summer, early fall, we got this stat that 10,000 babies are now alive in the state of Texas that would not have been alive if the 6-week prohibition on abortion had taken place. What went through your mind when you saw that statistic?
I mean, that's just incredible to think that our laws are actually saving lives. And actually, you can go to TexasHeartbeatLaw.com and see a ticker that we have of how many lives have been saved since the enactment of the Texas Heartbeat Law. And it's now in, I would say, 170,000, around that mark. So every year we are saving lives with the Texas Heartbeat Law. And it's just incredible to think that we're able to do this. And even more incredible that that law influenced and helped us overturn Roe versus Wade about a year later. So we're very happy that we're able to protect the preborn in our state.
Yeah, and by the way, Roe versus Wade, one of the more stupidly decided cases on the Supreme Court. We're talking to Mary Elizabeth Castle, Director of Government Relations at Texas Values. Democrats' efforts to use our money to facilitate abortions in the current environment, in particular in the U.S. military, they claim it doesn't violate the Hyde Amendment. And for those of you who don't know what's going on, the Defense Department is taking taxpayer dollars and shipping military personnel out of states like Texas, out of states that restrict abortion on demand, and sending them to states where they can get abortions on the taxpayer's dime. Mary Elizabeth, I can't see this as any other way. That is directly taxpayer money going to the funding of abortions. It should not be allowed, should it?
Right. On its face, it's clearly, the military that is funded by taxpayer dollars, and of course, all of their medical services and everything we use for them funded by taxpayer dollars. On its face, it's clearly using taxpayer dollars to fund abortion. So it's still being legally debated, and we hope that we can, stop this. But on its face, it's clearly wrong.
The last thing I have for you, it's kind of a political question, because we have a segment inside the Republican Party that wants the conservatives' pro-life movement to abandon our efforts to save babies' lives in utero. They say, we just want to be fiscal discipline. That's gone out the window too. We want to be rule of law people, but we just want to get out of these quote unquote social issues. When you hear that from the alleged conservative party, when you hear their luminaries say that in private conversations, because they won't say it in public, what is your response to them?
As someone who is a Christian before I'm politically aligned, I think the social issues of our day are very important and should be on our forefront. And if we don't take care of these issues of, defining family, protecting the preborn, protecting the religious liberty rights of Christians, then we won't have a good foundation in order to have a good free capitalist society. So these issues are very important. Sure, there might be elections where we do need to heavily focus on the economy, because that's a huge issue right now, but we shouldn't push these social issues, so to speak, to the background, because they're the very fiber of our country and our state, and they're affecting these other issues. They're affecting the economy, businesses, schools, education, so we can't just push them aside.
Our citizens have a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the abortion industry, led by the butcher shop, Planned Parenthood, is a direct violation and a direct affront to that very ideal that America was built on: life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. We have to protect our most vulnerable citizens, whether they be the aged, or whether they be the preborn, or our very youngest children, from the ravages of the left. Mary Elizabeth Castle, Director of Government Relations at Texas Values. If folks want to help out your organization, where can they go?
Yes, please visit txvalues.org to learn more about our organization. Again, we're a nonprofit, but also if you want to learn more about the heartbeat law, go to texasheartbeatlaw.com.
There you go. And you know what? The biased press has been trying to classify that law as an abortion ban, and it's not. It's an abortion limit, which the idea that we can't limit abortion on demand, is insane. Mary Elizabeth, great to meet you. Come back again soon. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much.
Telephone numbers 281-558-5738, 281-558-KSEV.